I put a picture of what the deck is now without the pergola in there. It's
Oh
all
yeah, it looks really good.
yeah, it's great. They did a great job. The only thing that
Oh, yeah.
sucks is we have to wait until like next spring to get the wood underneath stained black. Because right now it's all just like bare pressure treated wood underneath. The
Yeah.
deck itself is Trex, so it's like that. Do you guys know what Trex is?
It's like isn't it the treated synthetic?
Yeah, it's 100% synthetic. It's like plastic,
Yeah.
but it's
Yeah.
like permanent plastic. So, but underneath it's all like bare pressure treated wood. And I called a guy to stain it, and he said, "No, you got to wait at least 6 months." Well, 6 months is fucking December, so I got to wait till the spring next year to actually have it be just right. But
Just give him some tennis rackets and push him out there.
What are the tennis rackets for?
Walking around in the snow.
Okay. All right, I got you.
walking,
I'm like, wow, he's gonna play tennis in December? It was completely lost on me.
I thought it was just like I was imagining pushing him with the tennis racket. Like, why am I pushing this guy in the back with a tennis racket?
Well, that's why the visual was funny to me. Just someone in the middle of winter, just like in your backyard playing tennis when they should be trying to stain the deck. Like, that made no sense to me, and that's why it was funny. Hello and welcome to another episode of Brian Guy and Super Friends. I'm your host, Brian Labick, and you'd think after a few weeks I'd have a good snappy intro for these guys, but I don't. So joining me for this episode is Andy Stoles.
What's up, podcast people?
And Mike Bradley.
The tip of the Velociraptor's claw, Mike Bradley. Thank you very much.
All right, well, yeah, we'll let you intro yourself then.
I did. I did. It's already done.
Yeah, so we're a bit behind, I think, on topics and stuff like that. But a few of us around the campfire here have got to see Jurassic World Dominion. So that's what we are covering today. This is the 6th movie in the Jurassic franchise, or the 3rd movie in the Jurassic World trilogy, however you want to look at it. Either way, that is where we're at. Before we get into Dominion, I'm going to throw it out to these guys. I kind of want to quickly touch base with you guys. The Jurassic franchise, what have you seen, and what do you think to this point?
So you're talking the whole franchise, including the first trilogy and
the
this
other
trilogy?
5 movies, everything
In
that's
the
out there.
books,
How much
or...
are you caught up? Well, we'll stick with the movies. We're
Okay.
sticking with the movie discussion. So out of the other 5 movies up to this point, what have you seen? What are you caught up? What have you thought of the other previous movies?
Andy, I'll let you go first.
I've seen all the movies.
Okay.
So my favorite is definitely Jurassic Park 1. I think there's things to like about 2 and 3.
Yeah.
But I felt they both sort of fell short of the first one.
Fair.
I really liked Jurassic World, the first one, and then I thought the second one sort of fell short.
Okay. Mike, where do you stand?
I have seen and own all of these movies. I absolutely love the novels, the original movie. You know, I can give you a quick ranking. For me, it's Jurassic Park, Jurassic World, Lost World, and then you can drop about 5 stories down to get Jurassic Park 3, and then you can drop down to, I don't know, Sub-Basement 6 to get to Forbidden Kingdom.
Fallen Kingdom.
Forbidden Kingdom's a Jet Li movie, I think.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. You know, I think the first movie is absolute classic cinema. I don't think I've ever seen a movie more times in a theater than I saw that movie.
Yeah.
Mind you, I was 10 years old, or whatever I was at the time. I was a kid, but I remember several times seeing that and Independence Day. Those are the 2 movies I know I've seen in the theater more than anything else.
Jurassic Park scared me as a kid, so I did not see that in the theater, but Independence Day for sure. Numerous times in the theater.
Yeah, like those were the 2 when I was a kid that I saw so many times, and I know I did.
Yeah.
And I absolutely love the Jurassic Park series. I love the lore, and I love a lot of like the pseudoscience involved, the mysterious science that Michael Crichton wrote. What they use in the movies, it's not as dedicated and in-depth as what Michael Crichton did in the novels, where he really researched the actual science that would be necessary for all of this, whereas the movies just kind of gloss over it because they're a movie and they don't have 50 pages of explaining that they're able to do.
Right.
But yeah, that would be, like, I think the first movie of each trilogy, I think, are both fantastic. I think The Lost World is a really, really solid movie. And the third Jurassic Park movie, I still like. I still can watch that from time to time, in spite of how annoying Téa Leoni is in that movie.
Yeah.
Like, she brings it down a lot of notches, man. Just listening to her scream for Eric for hours just drives me crazy. And you said it was Fallen Kingdom.
Yes.
I think Fallen Kingdom is far and away the worst that they have done.
How many times have you seen Fallen Kingdom? Just
5
once?
or 6.
Okay.
It's still a Jurassic Park movie, so I still enjoy, like, there's still a kid in me that's like, dinosaurs, you know? So I still will watch it every now and then just to, because it's dinosaurs and it's the one I've seen the least,
I think I'm pretty much on par with you guys. Like, I Jurassic Park, the first one by far, like Mike said, pitch perfect movie. That's top tier for me. That's number one. Right behind it, Jurassic World. Probably the other two movies in the first trilogy, so Lost World and Jurassic Park 3 are after that. Fallen Kingdom would probably hit the 5th spot, but I've only seen it once, and I'm wondering now that the series is for the most part done right now. We'll see what happens later if they decide to do more, but where we're at now, we think this is the end. 6 movies, that's it.
It's printing money, though. They'll make more of these.
Yeah, that's where I'm assuming they're going to go. But for right now, Fallen Kingdom is towards the bottom of that list. I'm wondering if I watch it again now, having seen all the other movies and sort of wrap this up, if it would bump itself up a little bit for me. I think it might have some redeeming stuff that maybe I looked over or glossed over after just one viewing. I remember coming out of it not really caring for it, so I had no desire to go back and watch it. I kind of want to now, but I did not get around to it lately. And I think it's this trilogy, I think you could well, the franchise even, you could very much compare it, I think, to like what the sequel trilogy tried to do for Star Wars. And it, like, the Jurassic World is like your Force Awakens, which is, hey, we're going to do something new after a couple years away, but we're going to hit all those nostalgic beats and basically do the same type of story that the original Star Wars was, because that seemed to be what people like. And that's the one that everybody seems to like the most out of that trilogy. Second one kind of veers off a little bit and tries to do its own thing and does something else. Last Jedi was hit or miss with people. Fallen Kingdom, I think, is generally disliked, but I'll give it that it tried to at least do something different for the franchise. And then
Fair.
Dominion, I think, tries its best to cap this trilogy and the series as a whole. And we'll get into it, but for me, I think largely falls flat. And I feel the same way about Rise of Skywalker. So I think there are comparisons there to be made.
I don't think this falls as flat as Rise of Skywalker.
Maybe. And maybe
I feel
we'll
like Rise of Skywalker was a pancake. Like, it was really, really just not.
So
there.
not that Dominion was that much better, but it's just that Rise of Skywalker was that bad.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm not praising this movie by saying that. I'm just saying, like, Rise of Skywalker for me was just so bad that I just.
All right, so we'll get into a little bit for Jurassic World Dominion. This movie is directed by Colin Trevorrow, who directed Jurassic World. He came back for this one after, I don't know if I still can't remember if he got let go or fired from Rise of Skywalker, coincidentally. He was supposed to direct and write that one, and then left. They brought JJ back, and then he came back to Jurassic Park and finished his trilogy just like JJ. So again, the comparisons between the Star Wars sequel trilogy are definitely there.
Absolutely.
Doesn't he have credits in the Fallen Kingdom as well?
He probably produced it or something. I don't think he wrote that one.
Credits or something.
I thought he co-directed it.
Oh, he definitely did not co-direct. He was not a director for that one.
I'll look it up real quick. You guys go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna bring up IMDb because I kind of wanted to look at the
I've got it.
who wrote Jurassic World.
Director was J.A. Bayona, sole credit. Writers Derek Connolly and Colin Trevorrow, with
Okay,
Michael
that's where I saw
Crichton
it.
as credited on every one of these movies. Michael Crichton
Okay,
gets
so
the credit,
Connolly and Trevorrow wrote the entire Jurassic World, I think, trilogy.
but- right.
Their credit is Fallen Kingdom writers. They are. Oh no, they did not write. Trevorrow has a Trevorrow and Connolly have a screenplay credit for Jurassic World. I think they're the sole writers for Fallen Kingdom. They're writers for this one. The story got cracked for Jurassic World by two other people that are not listed. Oh, they do have screenplay. Why can't I say that word? Screenplay credit.
I don't know. It's not a
I'm
complicated
fumbling every
one.
time I try to play. I can't. Oh my god, I can't talk. Screenplay. Just get it out there. So I'm already stepping over my words because Trevorrow and Connolly are credited for story for Dominion. They did not do the screenplay. The screenplay was Trevorrow and Emily Carmichael for Dominion.
Okay.
So writers flipped around a little bit. Derek Connolly and Trevorrow are the through line for this entire trilogy. The stars of this movie, Dominion, we bring back Chris Pratt as Owen, Bryce Dallas Howard as Claire, Isabella Sermon as Maisie, DeWanda Weiss, I think it's Weiss, as Kayla. She's the newbie on the block for this movie, the pilot. B.D. Wong comes back as Dr. Henry Wu. Campbell Scott as Lewis Dodgson. Does that last name sound familiar to anybody?
I mean, you said it wrong. Because it's Dodgson.
Dodgson.
We've got Dodgson here.
Yeah. That's the through line. I don't know if that's supposed to be the same guy or just somehow
Yes.
related to that. It's supposed to be the same guy.
Having read all the novels and stuff, yes, it's Lewis
Okay.
Dodgson
Is it the
is
same
the
actor?
guy. It's not the same actor.
Okay.
Is it?
I don't.
I have
I
no
didn't
idea.
think,
Yeah, it
but
did
I
not
didn't
look
actually
the
go
same.
back
Like,
and research that.
I feel like the guy that was Dodgson in the original Jurassic Park was like a throwaway actor that you'll
Yeah,
never
I
see
thought
in
so,
anything
too.
else. Like he was there for a few lines and then they were like, okay, you'll never work again or something.
Yeah. So connecting again to the original trilogy, we bring back Laura Dern as Ellie Sadler, Sam Neill as Alan Grant, and Jeff Goldblum as Ian Malcolm. Getting to some of the ratings. This is where I want to bounce around a little bit because I was going to go back and look at all the other Jurassic movies. So, at least on Rotten Tomatoes. Right now for Metacritic, for Dominion, it has a Metascore of 38, a user score of 5.5. Going through the Rotten Tomatoes ratings. So, Dominion on Rotten Tomatoes has a tomato meter of 30%, an audience score of 77%. Now, if we go back to
What was
Jurassic
the
Park,
critics
for which one? For Metacritic?
for Rotten Tomatoes? You just said
Rotten Tomatoes, the tomato meter, which I guess is the critic meter, 30%.
Okay, so it's 30
Audience
to
score
77.
77. Yeah.
Big gap.
Yes. So going back through Rotten Tomatoes, critics for the first Jurassic Park, 92%, audience score 91%.
That's low.
The Lost World, 53% from the critics, 51% from the audience.
Ooh.
That's really low.
Jurassic Park 3, 49% from the critics, 36% from the audience. So a steady decline, but for the most part, they're pretty on par. Jurassic World bumps back up. Critic is 71%, audience score 78%.
Okay.
Fallen Kingdom drops back down, 47% from the critics, 48% from the audience.
That's about as close as you'll ever see for a big movie like that.
Even the franchise as a whole, like the audience and critics pretty much agree, right
Except
through
for this
through all of them. Yes, this is the biggest divide from everything else in this franchise. Box office. So I want to look at the box office too. I don't know. I didn't look up what the budget was. Sometimes new movies, they don't get the budget as quickly as you'd like. They got to wait for some of the box office returns to stop before it's posted. Right now, we're looking at a domestic
185.
185 million is the budget. Okay, all right. So it's free and clear in the black on this one. Domestic is $310 million. International, $546 million, which is a worldwide total $756 million. The domestic opening weekend was about half of what its domestic take is right now, 145 million in the first weekend.
That it was up against an absolute juggernaut, because I don't know, like, I'm sure you've taken notice, Brian, that Top Gun has now made over $1 billion.
Top Gun has been consistent at the box office for like the last month.
Yeah, Top Gun has been killing it, and it was up against that, which I didn't expect Top Gun to kill it in that way. I expected these two to have more of an even split.
Yeah.
During their time at the box office, but yeah, Top Gun, I would say, is definitely eating into that a good bit.
I mean, I think Jurassic World Dominion's returns week to week are falling, but it is still, I feel like, on pace to make over $1 billion.
Right.
I think it still could hit that number.
Yeah, I just mean, like, it had been solo with no competition. It probably would have already been
yeah.
But the two of them were costing each other.
So some of these numbers might surprise you, and I might make you guess some of these to see how close you guys are. The first Jurassic Park from 1993. Box office total. Does anyone have... Maybe I'll make you guess now. Does anybody have a guess what you think the worldwide total for Jurassic Park in 1993?
Are we talking original run or total since then?
Total since then. So this counts any re-releases that have been happening. Any stabs in the dark here?
750.
550.
It is just shy of $1.1 billion.
Oh,
okay.
Now that's probably not adjusted for inflation. So by today's standards, that's probably a lot more money.
Well, it depends on how much of it's re-release versus not. Like, that's a really tough number to adjust, because I'm sure it's been in theaters several times.
True. Yeah, I know. I have gone for like a couple anniversary screenings. I know they re-released it in 3D, which I went to see. Yeah. That was years ago, probably 10 years ago at this point. But
I saw it once when I was living next door to the Oaks Theater in Oakmont. And it was just like, I got home from work early one day, and they had like a 2:00 screening of Jurassic Park, and I was like, oh yeah, what the hell? It's $4 to go in and see it.
Yeah, that is one of those movies that like hits like the discount movie nights, or like it's comfort food for a lot of people. So it screens in a lot of places, I think. 1997's The Lost World, which is the second Jurassic Park movie. Worldwide, I'll give you this number, $619 million worldwide.
I was really close on the number in my head. I actually had 580 in my head.
Yeah, that was close. Jurassic Park 3, another steady decline to $369 million total worldwide.
I saw that one opening night. I can remember that very clearly.
And the budget steadily went up too. $63 million for the first Jurassic Park, $73 million for The Lost World, $93 million for Jurassic Park 3. And it had the lowest returns out of all of them.
It's probably why there was the biggest gap between the movies then when you got to from 3 to World.
Yeah, so Jurassic Park 3 was 2001. They took a break. Jurassic World came out in 2015. Does anyone have a guess? Worldwide total for Jurassic World?
1.4.
Ooh, I was going to say 1.1.
Mike was closer. $1.6 billion on a $150 million budget. So that movie made bank.
Yep.
Fallen Kingdom, worldwide. What do you think this movie made?
750.
625.
$1.3 billion. Budget went up a little bit too. So we had a budget of $150 million for Jurassic World. Fallen Kingdom had $170 million budget. So even as much as Fallen Kingdom seemed to be the black sheep at the time, everybody was talking shit that this was the worst one. It still made $1.3 billion. So even
it was coming off a lot of hype. Look at the way people talk about Last Jedi, and it's still the second highest earning Star Wars film ever.
Right, yeah.
So it's coming off of that hype where everybody, that opening weekend for Fallen Kingdom is probably heavily weighted, I would guess.
Opening weekend for Fallen Kingdom domestically was $148 million. Jurassic World, the first one's opening weekend, $208 million.
See, that's
so it came out of the gate a lot stronger too.
Yeah.
So Dominion's opening weekend is on par with Fallen Kingdom. Fallen Kingdom again was 148 million for their opening weekend domestic. Jurassic World Dominion 145 million, so right behind it.
Okay.
And you said Mike, you said the budget 185 million, so budget went up a little bit compared to Fallen Kingdom. A little
bit. Yeah, 170 to 185. That's not.
Yeah.
I mean, in Hollywood terms, that's not a ton. But it's not a big increase, but it's an increase. That could just be inflation,
Right. So that's where I mean, there's a steady trend that you can see the trilogies sort of fall off. They get like every one starts really strong and just kind of teeters off the edge as you get towards the next three. And I don't know, even like between the critics and the box office, both I think give you the signs of quality of movie right now.
So I have a theory on this. So with Jurassic Park and Jurassic World, both of them take place in parks. They both take place with an amusement park gone wrong.
Yes.
Which is actually where the title is. So the whole idea is that it's a amusement park gone wrong. Not literally the whole idea, but you get what I'm saying. Like, it's like, oh, Jurassic Park. By the time you get to Jurassic Park 3, there's not even a park anymore.
Yeah.
Like, they're just, what are you doing?
Well, they're like Jurassic Park works best as like a disaster movie.
Yeah.
So when the disaster's already happened and you're just still in the fallout, it's not as interesting.
Which is every movie since the first one.
Well, even that's what I mean. Like, you can make the comparison for Jurassic World the same way too.
Yeah,
like,
they remanaged the fallout of the first.
Right. They set the
movies.
bar. They give you back to the status quo. You're back at zero, and then shit happens.
Yep.
All right, so let's get a little bit into this movie. So before we get into spoilers, general spoiler-free thoughts for Jurassic World Dominion. Mike, we'll start with you. What do you think of this movie?
I feel like, honestly, like I may be the odd one out on this one. I actually enjoyed this. But if I'm gonna say, I'll say negatives first and positives second. Without spoilers, of course. Negatives on the side of no spoilers, it's too long. It felt long in the theater. It felt a little bit disjointed. And I felt like they had an opportunity to do something we wanted to see them do for a long time. And instead of doing that, they went a different way.
Yeah.
But the positives, you're never going to give me enough Jeff Goldblum. It just can't happen.
He was a shining light in this movie. I will give you that. Yes.
The original cast, all three of them, I thought were fantastic. To see them back together and actually working together. As much as I like Bryce Dallas Howard in so many other ways, I feel like she was pointless in this movie. And Chris Pratt's character did not have an arc whatsoever here that I wanted him to have. He just did not have. Like, they set up for a potential arc in the previous two movies that just was not there in this movie that should have been. And yeah, in general, I still liked it. I still enjoyed it. They did some fan service, but they did it right. So this is where I would say, like, we talked about Rise of Skywalker earlier, and kind of how I felt about the two of them, and where Rise of Skywalker just ham-fisted the fan service in. The fan service here felt more natural. It felt not forced and not cheesy as much to me. Still kind of cheesy.
Wholeheartedly with that. I thought this was
more than Rise of Skywalker, because that's what I'm comparing it to.
Yes.
Okay. We'll have to agree to disagree on that.
I mean, that's my opinion, but I had so many roll my eyes moments at some of the nostalgic fan service they try to put in here that it felt so blatantly obvious that that's what they were going to do, and then they did it. It's like, oh, come, like, you guys are smarter than this. Come on.
Some of them, I will agree with you, and other ones felt better.
All right, so we can get into specifics when we get there, but...
Right. Yeah, I don't want to get into all of it right now. So, anyways, but in general, I had a good time with this movie. I just wish they had cut out some of the middle that was unnecessary.
Yeah. Andy, you're coming off the freshest viewing of this movie. So what did you think? General spoiler free thoughts.
I liked the movie. I did think Mike hit it on the head when he said it was disjointed because it did feel like two different movies to me.
Yeah.
It felt like an action like almost Mission Impossible with dinosaurs in the beginning half of it.
Right.
And then you got the second half, which was reuniting with the original cast and fan service, and you actually got some more dinosaur out of it, which was I thought was pretty cool. Overall, I enjoyed the movie. I think it doesn't hold a torch to Jurassic World.
Yeah.
So I'd say it's probably somewhere on par with Forbidden Kingdom. Or
Oh, see, now you did it too. Fallen Kingdom.
yeah, Fallen Kingdom. Yeah.
Sorry, I started a bad trend with that.
You've planted the seed now. It's in
Got
everybody's
Jet
head.
Li on the brain. the, it was a good popcorn movie to me. Like I enjoyed it, and I like someone like the cheesy fan service stuff. It didn't make me roll my eyes. I just kind of got a chuckle out of it, and just like, okay, they did that. We'll move on. So I don't know. It didn't.
There was.
I had very low expectations for this.
Okay.
Based on what I had been reading and hearing and stuff, and I think that helped.
Probably
my
because
viewing.
I think I went into it the other way, where this. I meant to look at the list. I'll have to pull it up as we're going, but I
It was
know
high
this was
for you
on
and
some
I.
anticipated lists for people.
Yeah,
And
I think
I
it was
was-
like
I
number
was-
3 for me.
Very much looking forward to this, and then like before I saw it, the review started hitting a couple days earlier, and then I'm thinking like, really? Like they can't be saying that about this movie, the one I'm really excited about. There's no way this one is being reviewed like that. And then I saw the movie, and I was like, no, you know what? I think I'm kind of on par with what I was reading. Which, yeah, and again, that maybe just comes with the anticipation factor and expecting something else, and then just it not living up to that hype. And that's where I get in trouble with movies a lot of times, is I just go in with higher expectations, and that's a lot of the reason why I avoid most trailers. I will give myself a little bit, but I try not to watch all of them. One, for fear of spoilers, but two, to build up a movie for me and get me that much more excited for it, and then they show me something completely different, and then I get pissed. Which, granted, I only saw one trailer for this movie, like the first one, and that still presented a movie to me that I thought I was going to get, and I got something completely different, and that was another reason I think I kind of got burned by it a little bit. But actually,
so far, it was number 3 for me. I looked it up. I found my own list.
yeah, I was gonna say I found the list too. I have you at number 4 for Jurassic World Dominion.
On my notes in my phone, I have it at number 3. I don't
Okay.
annotate that if I make changes during the show. I don't.
What was
remember
your 3 and 2 and 1, or
I know
your ones above it?
Batman was number 1, and 2 was Thor, and 4 was Uncharted.
Okay, because the list that I have from you has Uncharted at 5, Jurassic World at 4, Fantastic Beasts: Secrets of Dumbledore at 3,
Okay,
and
I have
then
that at
Thor and
6.
Batman.
I have that at 6 in my phone.
Okay.
Well, based on the ones in my phone, I've seen 3 of the top 4: Batman, Jurassic World, and Uncharted. Man, I really hope Thor next week comes through. Not that Batman was that bad. It's the best of the 3, but
Yeah.
it will definitely not be my number 1 from this year. Spoilers
Yeah,
for
I'm
next year's show.
looking at my list. I have Jurassic World Dominion at my number 8, but I have Maverick at number 9, and I fucking loved Maverick, so that's gonna be a very stark difference between the two of those. Of course,
I haven't
it
seen
seems like
Maverick
half
yet.
my
Did you
half my
review
list is-
Maverick? There's not is there a show out for that?
Yeah. You know what? Yeah, Ian and I did that because at the time he was the only other one to see the movie,
Oh,
so we
okay.
jumped on because it was fresh and it was like I was dying to talk about it. I think at that point,
Okay, I'll have
But
to
yeah.
listen to it.
highly recommend. Like I was gonna even push that at the end of the show. If you were deciding between Jurassic World Dominion and Maverick this weekend, go see Maverick. Is gonna be my push for anyone out there.
Should I make sure I see Maverick in IMAX? Is there
As
like
big and loud as you possibly can.
Okay,
yes.
that's what I figured. Like, that's the only thing I was waiting on with that movie was like, I know I should probably see it in a theater just because of the spectacle.
It started.
Of it.
I started to hit a few IMAX screens again, but it's only getting like one time a day. Like Minions is overtaking the theater this weekend, so a lot of the premium formats are getting taken by that.
I got to drive a long way to get to IMAX now that the Mills doesn't use their IMAX screen. They have that half of the theater, but they just only use the one half. They don't use the IMAX screen anymore.
So
I got to go all the way to Monroeville, which is like 45 minutes.
Yeah.
To get to an IMAX screen.
But yeah,
Monroeville has an IMAX?
They have their XD, so it's
Yeah.
like IMAX, but not. I don't know if it's maybe not as big as IMAX. I'm not quite sure what the difference is.
I think the sound is better in XD, but the picture is bigger in IMAX.
Yeah, it might be something like that.
Yeah.
So either way, if you can get into a better premium format theater for Maverick, definitely. Now that we've turned this into a Top Gun Maverick review podcast, but yes, that's where I'd point anybody that's going to go see that movie. Dominion. So Dominion for me, I think the hype for me was a lot higher than maybe what it should have been. I came out feeling very disappointed in the movie. I without getting into the spoilers of it, like I said, I think the fan service they tried to do, a lot of it didn't land with me. I just felt very cringy and eye-rolly for me. There was one or two that hit and really made me laugh. There's a specific one with Jeff Goldblum that made me chuckle pretty hard. But for the most part, I feel like for a dinosaur movie that I thought was going to be about dinosaurs, it's not really about dinosaurs, and it kind of pissed me off that it went a completely different direction. And granted, the trailers, at least the trailers that I've seen, did not tell you that. Like, they kept that part of the story under wraps in the promotional material, which is good. Typically, I appreciate that stuff when they keep the surprises for the movie. But this direction for the movie was, I don't think, made the movie better. So
I feel like the promotional material is a lot of what I actually wanted to see the movie take in terms of the direction. It got me excited. That first, whatever clip they put out like a year and a half ago or whatever the hell it was, that, like the trailer park clip, like the people out in the middle of the desert somewhere in a campground or something.
Yes, and what's the most iconic shot of the first Jurassic World? It's the end of the movie when the T-Rex is in the visitor center and the poster comes down and says, "When dinosaurs ruled the earth."
Well,
that's where we got to in Dominion. Dinosaurs should be ruling the earth. That should be like the focal point of what this fucking movie is.
Yep.
So
we'll get into it in spoilers.
There's definitely some things we need to bring up in the spoiler part of this. So, yeah, it fell flat to me. Again, I'm going to recommend, if anybody is interested in seeing the movie, definitely get out to see it. But again, if you have the choice between this and Top Gun, go see Top Gun. We'll talk about Jurassic World after the back. So yeah, all right, we're I think anxious to get into spoilers, so we're gonna get into some spoilers now. So there's a lot to say. If you have not seen the Jurassic World Dominion movie, or for that matter, probably any other Jurassic movies, because we may pick and choose some of the other stuff that we want to talk about from those movies, just to cover my bases, and you do not want spoiled, pause us now, come back after watching one or all of the other Jurassic movies, and we'll be here waiting for you. So this is your last warning. Spoilers to follow.
Wee-oo, spoiler! Wee-oo, spoiler! Something like that.
All right, so we are into spoiler territory. We're going to cover all the shit that we keep avoiding for the last little bit here. So the first question I kind of want to level at you guys. Can anyone explain to me the plot of this fucking movie? Like, what were they trying to do with Maisie and Blue's kid, Beta? Like, part of the crux of the second half of this movie is to get blood or DNA or something from them to do something, and I checked out at that point.
You'll take the silence as we don't fucking know either.
Okay, all right.
Well, from what I gleaned off of it, Maisie was something that had never happened in science before. She was a clone that got fixed using something that sounded
sciencey
like
things.
Genetic
virus.
MacGuffin science.
Yeah, like a virus that had like, she used like a virus to upload DNA structurally change her DNA.
Yeah.
So being that she had been fixed and Blue was in Blue's Beta or whatever the hell.
Blue's kid.
Beta.
Yeah, Blue baby.
Was like an exact replica. So basically, Beta was Maisie before Maisie got the DNA restructuring.
So we're led to believe
they wanted to compare the two so that they could right the wrong they did with the locusts.
Well, I think
So
it was
we're led
also
to-
right the wrong, but also they thought that they could then start curing things like cancer and
Right,
you know, like
yeah.
the incurable things. They thought
Autoimmune
they could,
diseases and stuff, yeah.
yeah, like they thought they could cure those things by using science from the information they got from Maisie and Blue.
So we're led to believe that Blue obviously gave birth, but not like birth in a traditional sense. This isn't a kid of the raptor. This is a clone. Like Blue gave birth to a clone of itself.
Life found a way.
That,
From what it sounded like, monitor
That's what happened in the
lizards-
first one.
Monitor lizards like do the same thing. Like they don't find a mate, they spawn like an exact replica of themselves, just younger.
okay.
That is a thing that some reptiles and amphibians are capable of. That's not pseudoscience. That's science that we don't entirely understand at this time. Like it's
Yeah.
something that like they'd like to understand it more. And I guess Jurassic World in their writing is trying to bring that to light. I don't know, something. But the way I
Yeah, I
took it
couldn't-
was like this was life finding a way. This was
Okay.
like Blue with Beta was what happened in the original Jurassic Park. Same thing. You know, they find the raptor eggs. Like Grant
Right, but
finds the
that's
raptor
dinosaurs
eggs and-
having kids. They're not clone copies of themselves.
Aren't they?
No. I
What
was
evidence of that do you have from the first movie?
No, because what they talked
They-
about, it's the explanation Grant gives, is that frog DNA, if it's in a population that is abundantly male, the frog
Right.
DNA switches itself to make a female so that they can reproduce
Right.
and have kids.
Yep. They
Okay.
switch genders.
So
mid-
some of them can
mid-flight,
switch genders
yeah.
within a population to be able to breed. Okay.
Yes. That's life finding of the
You're
way,
right,
is that
you're
life
right.
realizes they can't have all
Well,
same-sex
this-
people.
this-
so
this
at
is
that
life
point, you get the
finding another
splicing
way,
of the
then.
DNAs together, yeah.
This is life finding a way in a singular population where Blue is the only individual in the population of raptors in the wild in the area she's living in. So she's a
Right.
sole populace, and this is life finding another way.
All right. I'm not crazy about it, but I'll buy it.
It all
The-
comes back to Malcolm in this movie. Like a lot, like I can.
Yeah.
The
that,
As
only
he
other
does
thing-
chaos theory, you can
that
bring anything
water-
back to it.
that water keeps dripping different ways down your face, you know?
Yeah.
It always comes back to the palm diagram.
Somehow I dropped it here and it wound up at my butthole. I don't know what happened.
The whole Maisie's like storyline. Did anyone else catch that they retconned that whole fucking thing about her being a clone from Fallen Kingdom?
I thought she still was a clone. She was just an
She is a
altered
clone, but the whole reason for her existing is completely retconned.
I thought
in
that
this
was
movie.
just that her grandfather was lying to her as opposed to retconned.
well,
because it-
well. To me, that's they had a solid explanation in the movie before, which was backed up by what that movie was doing. You get to
Right.
this movie and they don't address that at all. They just say, "Hey, this is what happened," and it's a completely different story than what we heard before.
See, my impression of Fallen Kingdom was that they only got a real quick little synopsis of what she was from the guy that was fucking trying to kill them as they were running out of his mansion.
See, the
So-
explanation I remember from Fallen Kingdom was there's the two co-creators of Jurassic Park, John Hammond and that other dude that was Cromwell guy in the movie. And they were the scientists that, figured out how to clone dinosaurs, and they were the ones working with it. And Cromwell lost his daughter and realized he had the science to bring her back and cloned her successfully. And then that caused Hammond and him to have a falling out, and that's why the other guy is never mentioned in the original first three movies. And Hammond gets all the credit. That is a cooler explanation to me, and that was the one I thought we were going to use. And then in this one, they say, "Oh, no, that didn't happen like that. It was just literally Cromwell's daughter was dying and wanted to give birth to herself."
So this is you're a nobody, Ray. You're nobody. You came from nothing.
Yeah,
Your parents were nobody. To now raise a Palpatine, and
Yeah,
this is that. Just in
and I hated
Jurassic
that fucking
Park.
explanation too. So it's like, why can't anybody just stick to the story threads that they fucking set up in the movie before if
Because
you're going
they
to
didn't
connect
write
to the
that.
one before?
Because they wanted to write their own story and they wanted to tell their own tale and screw what somebody else's work, and I want to tell
Trevor
my
Owen
story.
Colony
Wah.
they're credited with story on the movie before. Like, they had the through
Good
line
point.
for all these three movies. It's not like it's a different writer.
So they may have had the story, but they did not direct it. So maybe that aspect of their story didn't hit as well as they would have hoped the director had it hit.
In my opinion, this is me. I think that is the coolest fucking twist in Fallen Kingdom. Is that explanation for Maisie existing?
I agree.
And they took the coolest part of that movie and fucked it up in this one.
And they brought back the dumbest part of that movie and put it in this one. The whole targeting system.
Oh, yeah.
The absolute dumbest part of Fallen Kingdom they used heavily in this fucking movie.
Well, they set that seed up even in Jurassic World as to how to make dinosaurs be soldiers and be part of an army, and this is how what they want to do with it.
It's also the dumbest part of Jurassic World.
I understand that. However, I will accept that they put the breadcrumbs in the first movie, they expanded upon them in the second movie, and you see it to conclusion in this movie. I can appreciate story decisions like that. You give me story decisions in one movie and then completely rewrite them in the movie after that, that pisses me off.
True.
I am glad that like laser targeting thing only happened in like the very first like half of the movie, and then we didn't see it anymore. I was very glad of that
because they realized it was stupid and it's not worth bringing back up again.
The whole dinosaurs are gonna be our tools as military units thing was stupid as fuck in Jurassic World, and it was the one thing that took me out of Jurassic World was like we can train them to be military use. I get the idea of like corporate profit and private crazy people wanting to own their own dinosaur from Fallen Kingdom, like that part of it I actually get, because look at the people that just own a tiger that have no business owning a tiger. You know, I'm not talking about like, you know, a person that's a zoologist or somebody that knows how to keep a tiger. Just random people sometimes buy tigers and then get killed by them or whatever. I don't know what happens when you own a tiger, but I assume you just die eventually.
Of old age, eventually, yeah. That can
well, no, I mean a tiger death. You die of tiger at some point if you don't know what you're doing and you buy a tiger.
You've died of dysentery.
Yeah. Orgontrella, you have died of tiger.
Yeah, you've died of tiger. But no, like that part I get. Like people with too much money that will just throw it at anything. Will be like, yeah, I'll take any dinosaur. I just want to own a dinosaur. Fuck yeah. That part made sense. The part of we're gonna make them military units. What?
See,
like we got them to respond to
me,
food, so therefore they can be military units within a couple of years. Are you kidding? You know how long it took us to domesticate dogs? Like how many centuries it took us to turn a wolf into a dog that would just obey any command, and then you want to take a raptor and turn it into a military unit within, I don't know, 5 years? We got it.
But really,
not
I think,
even
like, in
generations,
my mind,
just a single generation. We got it.
In my mind, is that idea stupid? Yes. Are there stupid enough people to think that's a good idea? Yes. So that's why I'm on board with that. I can see that train of logic. Someone somewhere having the idea that, yes, dinosaurs as soldiers, let's fucking go. Strap missiles to their back and put a saddle on them. Let's ride them into battle.
Yeah, I didn't mind the Jurassic World aspect of it where they were just like they were trying to see if it could work.
Yeah.
No, like
but
that part where they're just observing it, I get.
Proceeded into the second.
Yeah, like
the same reason they made a park 20 years later.
Let's see
again,
if this has any chance of working. And if it doesn't have any chance, we'll just forget about it. But they're like, oh, wait, it might.
No, like I understand that part of Jurassic World where it's like we've heard that this guy Owen at this park that we put up somehow has started to train raptors a bit like dogs. Not quite as good as we've trained dogs, but he started to train them a little bit like dogs to respond to a clicker. So we should maybe pay attention to this because the military does use dogs. They do, we do use animals in some capacity for their superior senses to our own. So I get that they would be paying attention to it. But the whole idea that people would pay, in like, within a couple of years, they go from being able to train it with a clicker to being able to, like, we can point a laser at somebody and it goes, yeah, I got it. It's so bad.
I mean, the themes of Jurassic Park, every one of those movies, is that people think they can control the science, right? They
sure.
do the science for the dinosaurs. They think they can control them. They don't. I think the same goes with the military stuff too. Is that like even in Jurassic World, like they're observing them being used as a military asset to try to track the Indominus Rex at the time. And as soon as they get to the damn dinosaur, the raptors turn on everybody and slaughter them. So obviously that is a failed experiment, and yet they still continue to do it anyway, just like they made a park 20 years later when it failed the first time. Like,
right.
People are just stupid.
Greed and hubris. Like
yes. Everybody thinks they can do it better than the guy before, even when everybody else has failed.
Yeah, so, some things you just can't control.
Because the previous person wasn't them.
Yeah, like that wasn't me. I got this. I got this. I totally got this. Yeah,
hold
all right.
Here.
Yeah, tell that to Roy with the tiger. Like,
Sort of.
I'm kidding.
sort
Sorry,
of-
Roy. Sorry, Siegfried. But
Sort of what we started talking about in the general spoiler free thoughts. My thought for this movie, based on the trailers and everything that I think had come before, was that we were going to actually deal with a Jurassic World where dinosaurs were the dominant species of the world, and humans are now on the run and have to deal with this new, higher tier alpha animal
chain.
type of thing. Yes, that's the word I'm looking for. Yeah. So it was, are humans being hunted? Are there going to be, I expected sort of like Claire and Owen to be the activist type of people that were trying to round up whatever dinosaurs are on the world and get them to a special sanctuary somewhere where they won't be harmed or poached or something. And there's a sense of that, like that Biosyn, was that the name of the company, I think?
Yep.
Biosyn was the...
Yeah, I think so.
Like, they had the sanctuary where they're trying to keep the dinosaurs and keep them safe and stuff like that. So that was a portion of the movie, but it was such a far, subplot that it wasn't anything substantial or worthwhile in the movie. The focus very quickly spins to these fucking genetically enhanced locusts, where somehow Ellie Sadler is now a freaking what am I looking for? Like expert on these when she was an archaeologist.
the term would be what is it's like endo something. Endobiologist or something like it's endo
Okay.
something when it refers to insects.
Okay.
I'm
I
gonna look it
don't
up
know
because
how
I
that
can't
leap
bother me.
happened. I don't think it's as big of a leap as the fucking guy that used to work at the Jurassic Park as a dinosaur handler and is suddenly in Secret Service for the French or some shit.
Entomologist. She
Okay.
would be a paleo entomologist at that point.
Like I could sort of maybe sort of buy that leap, but like the one guy that was that worked with Owen at the park, didn't he become like French Secret Service or some shit?
Well, we didn't have any background on him. I don't think in Jurassic World, but we did have background on Owen being like a Navy SEAL or some shit like that.
Yeah, I thought everyone that was kind of under him had like military experience more than they had like
Okay.
animal experience because they wanted to like
Military train. They were
right.
being pushed in that
Okay.
direction by Vincent D'Onofrio's character, whose name I can't remember.
So that's sort of just assumed from Jurassic World, right? They didn't really give
Yeah,
that deep.
I think.
Yeah, I mean, why else would you
Okay.
have a Navy SEAL training raptors?
I just figured he was the one exception. They got him there just coming out of the Navy. I guess I didn't put the leap there that everybody around him was also military trained. I just figured they were people wanting to work for an amusement park. And
I
possibly
don't
put their
think it's
lives
a
on the
big
line every
leap.
day.
I don't think it's a big leap. I don't think that's like, oh, no way. You know what I mean? Like,
Okay.
I feel like, okay, yeah, he was this, and this guy was like the second in command. Maybe it's not everybody there, but this guy was he was like his number 2, you know?
Yeah.
I think he wielded a couple of automatic machine guns fairly well. Like you
True.
could tell he had been trained because they protected, didn't they? Like
Yeah,
people
yeah,
getting
they're-
out of the Indominus Rex cage and stuff.
Oh,
like
he
that.
does. I guess he does go out with them for the hunt, I think, right?
Yeah. So I think he does. I think he was trained.
All right. You know what? I'll allow it. Good explanation. This movie just got like a quarter of a point.
There you go.
Along that same line, though, I did not care for them just letting that fall off and not seeing what happened to the
Oh yeah.
Asian lady. She marks Owen, and then there's that chase scene, and then you literally never see those two again.
Yep.
That's
I
the
would've liked to
Dodgson
have
from the
seen
first movie.
Something, anything, just a little blurb. Bloop.
Yeah.
That's the Barbasol Cannon Dodgson. We're
Yeah.
gonna. It's 6 movies from now. We're gonna get an explanation.
Just need a minute and a half. Something.
6 movies
Speaking
from
of
now. Wait for it.
the Barbasol can, the shaving cream can. This we'll go spin into the fan service stuff for this because that shaving cream can came out of nowhere. And is that just meant to be like, oh, this is the guy from? Is that supposed to be the connection? Somehow he found it from Jurassic
I think
Park.
that's
to...
just meant to help you make that connection for people that weren't aware. Maybe.
I never did though. I didn't make that connection until someone mentioned it to me at work, and I'm like, "Holy fuck nuggets! You are completely correct."
Like the moment they said Dodgson, I was just like, oh, they're going that guy. Like I've seen the first movie so many damn times that Wayne Knight or Newman, if you will, just shouting Dodgson. So in that first what is it, the second scene of the first movie,
Yeah.
that you get him doing that. That's just ground down into my brain, and it was like, oh yeah, Lewis Dodgson. Because
And I remember
I probably read the books 4 times too, so it's,
I remember that
in there.
scene, but seeing the movie, I never heard either. I didn't hear or just it didn't stick with me what the main bad guy's name was. If I don't know how many times they say Dodgson or if it's shown somewhere, I was completely oblivious to any of that. So when the can shows up at the end, I'm like, who the fuck is this guy with this can? Where did he get this from? And how is it?
Even then, where did he get the fucking can?
Yeah, he's like keeping it like a trophy, like he should know what it is, but it's like that thing was lost on the island. How does anyone know what the fuck it is?
I could see being who he is. He gave Nedry the can in the first movie. And then maybe the can is recovered from from Isla Nublar, right? And he's like, I know that can, and so he takes it and keeps it after that.
And had I put the connection with the name there, watching the movie, that would have made sense to me. I probably could have connected those dots. So all this happened after the fact to me.
Right.
But, yeah, because I was just so confused why he's so enamored with this can at the end of the movie. I'm like, who the fuck is this guy, and why does he care about this can? But, like, we know what it is as the viewer. I was confused why he knew what it was, but that it makes more sense now.
Speaking of that character, I wasn't super fond of the actor's.
Like you didn't like the bad guy, or like because you're not meant to like him.
I know.
So is it the performance that's bad, or just the character that's bad?
Well, I didn't hate him because like he didn't really do anything. He didn't spark rage or like animosity to me. You know.
Yeah.
He was not like inherently evil.
You have to have that like, oh, that son of a bitch moment. And I never had that, that son of a bitch moment.
He did some smarmy things, and he did some underhanded things and some shady things, but they really set him up with like all the camera surveillance and stuff, the way they set that up. And then they never set him up to be like the megalomaniac type that... They kind of like they set him up to be the megalomaniac type, and that never actually becomes what he is. He's still just generally, thinking he's doing a good thing, and he's not in it for the greed or in it for the other stuff. He was genuinely in it for this, and he was willing to preserve what he was trying to accomplish at any cost. But the portrayal, I agree with Andy, was not on point with that. It didn't mesh with that. He portrayed himself as the type of person that's gonna turn into this greedy nut job at some point, and instead he turned into just a coward.
I really thought they were misdirecting with him. Like, I think when you first meet him a couple times, he is meant to seem genuine for like trying to save the planet and cure diseases and stuff. Yeah. And I bought that. When Ellie and Grant talked to him for the first time, I was like, okay, this guy doesn't seem too bad.
Yeah.
I thought they were going for the misdirect, because at the same time, I'm like, well, it's too obvious that this guy's the bad guy. It's got to be someone under him, second in command, third in command, somebody that works at this company is doing something he is unaware of.
Pulling a Nedry.
Yes.
Doing what Nedry did.
But it turns out it's not that. It's still him giving orders to other people to do all the shady shit. And I was like, oh, that's not fun. Like, I
honestly,
wanted more.
For me, I caught the name as soon as they introduced him, so I knew right away.
And maybe that's
the
disconnect that I missed too. That would have solidified it. Like, okay, well, this is it now. That as soon as you meet the guy, this is him. This is the guy.
Yeah, that motherfucker right there. I know that name. I know that name. I know who he is. It's not the same actor, but I know who he is.
Mike, I want to spend to some of the fan service. You were talking about some of the fan service you liked. So what was some of the stuff for you that hit?
The way they introduced Grant, being very similar to the first movie. Maybe you don't get the helicopter, but you get the same kind of like. It's not Hammond coming into the tent to talk him into coming out and doing this thing. It's Ellie.
Yeah.
And I guess that's more subtle, but it's still like they go to a dig, and then it ends up in the tent next to the dig, where they're talking. I guess it's a trailer in the first movie, but it's a tent here, whatever. But they, and he gets talked into something that he probably shouldn't do. I like that. I like another subtle one. If you remember in Jurassic Park 3, he corrects Billy was the guy's name in Jurassic Park 3. He corrects Billy when Billy says that he thinks, whatever reason this guy's supposed to be a paleontologist, calls the Spinosaurus a baryonyx. And now we see the baryonyx attacking Grant in those caves where they're trying to light them with the torches. That's what a baryonyx actually is. Much smaller and less significant than a Spinosaurus, which is why it was silly in the Jurassic Park 3 for him to say that. That was kind of cool. And on the reverse side, it's been a few weeks, so I'm sorry if I don't remember all the
I know,
specifics.
I'm a little bit out of it too. Had I just recorded after just seeing it, I probably would have had a laundry list of stuff, but I can really only think of one right now that's bothering me. But go ahead, sorry.
Well, and I'm probably going to hit on that, and that's Malcolm using the damn flare.
Oh, I forgot about that, but yeah, that one was a roll my eyes moment for me.
Yeah, that was just like, come on, I didn't need this again. I know it's an iconic moment from the first movie, but at the same time, it's fucking stupid. It's a different dinosaur. It's not a T-Rex that sees only movement. This is the Giganotosaurus, which you know what? It's a Gigantosaurus. Fuck off. It's Gigantosaurus. You can say Giganotosaurus all you want. It's Gigantosaurus. Spelled the same, said the same, whatever. But it doesn't work that way, and Malcolm is not a stupid person. He would not think that it would.
Yeah.
He is supposed to be one of the smartest people ever to live, basically. You know what I mean? Like, he's supposed to be this absolute genius. He would not think that would work on just a different predator. That bugged me, and I want to say... I remember other things, but I'll let... I'll pass along, but... To me, I guess like the whole idea of how they reintroduced Ellie and Grant being very similar to how they were introduced in the first movie. That was like the part that brought the nostalgia in for me and gave me like the warm fuzzy feeling, I guess you could say.
Yeah.
But a lot of
Andy,
the other stuff did fall flat.
Coming off a little fresh, do you have any fan service moments that either worked or didn't work for you?
I enjoyed a lot of Jeff Goldblum's like one-liners. Like,
Yeah.
Is that a dinosaur on your back? And like when he has the gun and Chris Pratt's is like, okay, calm down there, Rambo. Or he says something to that effect to him. And then there's another point when his shirt is like unbuttoned and the Casey? What was her
Kayla,
name?
I think.
Kayla, yeah. Is like, no, and he's like, okay. Like,
that was the moment.
Lifts it up.
That was the one fan service moment that had me chuckle pretty good.
Yeah.
Like, I appreciated that joke.
Now.
Yeah, that was
because
really
that
funny.
was a little bit more subtle. Like the one for me that immediately comes to mind where I'm like, well, God damn it, they did this in the other movie and they're really trying to draw attention to it, is when you're introduced to Ellie and she's looking out over the wheat field and she stands up on something and then removes her glasses the same way she removes her glasses when she looked at the Brontosaurus for the first time. And I was like, I see what you're doing here and it's goddamn obvious, and why? Like, to me, that was completely unnecessary, and it's supposed to give you the warm and fuzzies, and that was where I was rolling my eyes, like, cringy.
So right from the get, you were like,
Yeah, and now I'm looking for those type of shit throughout the movie, and I know there's other instances, and I can't think of what else they were. But to me, yeah, right from the off, that was one that was like, what are you, goddamn, and it, like, I don't know if it soured the tone of the movie for me from there on out, but I got a sense of where they were going and what they were going to try to do, and it just didn't help the viewing experience for me.
But personally, that one specifically, I didn't even catch.
I didn't catch that one either.
Okay.
Like, now that you say it, I'm like, oh, yeah.
Yeah, it seemed glaringly obvious to me.
I think there's a lot of that some people will catch and some people won't. And, you know,
I mean,
like
you got
subtle
Dodge and I got the
nods.
sunglasses, so that's where we're at.
The T-Rex going through the circle.
Oh, yes, the logo. It makes the logo.
That
Yeah.
was awesome for me.
I like that. That was a really cool fan service aspect, I thought.
And can I say something that I feel like they fail at with fan service? Repetitively. What's the logo for every one of these movies?
The skeleton.
Of
T-Rex, right?
a T-Rex, right.
Yeah.
When's the last time we saw a T-Rex win a fight?
Technically, they do come out on top, but usually with help, at least in the last couple movies. Actually, with all the
No.
movies?
Spinosaurus killed the T-Rex in 3.
killed a
Like-
T-Rex, not the T-Rex.
It's the only time we see a T-Rex. It kills the T-Rex in
We
3.
see a T-Rex in Jurassic World.
No. I mean, in that movie. Like, that's the T-Rex of that movie, is it gets killed by the Spinosaurus, and then the Spinosaurus
okay.
takes over that big predator dinosaur role. And then Jurassic World, it's the Mosasaur that wins the fight with the help of the Raptor and T-Rex, but the Mosasaur could have just won it on its own if it wanted to, because it's like 5 times the size of the biggest land dinosaur. So it just wins the fight on its own and just decides to have a snack. Fallen Kingdom, we really don't get any of that. We just get a T-Rex like being moved off the island kind of thing.
And I think it does kill something on the way off, like when it's running from the volcano, doesn't it? Doesn't it kill something around?
There's like a
Allosaurus.
Allosaurus.
Yeah.
It's like about to attack them in their little bubble thing.
Yeah.
But it's like half the size of the T-Rex. It's not even like an actual competitor. But it just wipes that out so they can get away then. And then in this movie, it's like, oh, this other I don't even know what the fuck that other thing was.
Wolverine dinosaur.
Yeah, that thing was just ridiculous. It's like, this is a dinosaur with sloth claws. Like-
It's more like Lady Deathstrike.
Actually, it is more like Lady Deathstrike. Lady Deathstrike the dinosaur
Yeah.
comes in and helps the T-Rex here to win and actually kills the... And it's like, the T-Rex is the fucking show, man.
Yeah.
You know, like, again, and it's like they always feel this need to go like bigger and badder and all this stuff, and they make that statement in Jurassic World, like, oh, people aren't impressed anymore. And it's like, why don't you just say we made a super T-Rex? We made an even bigger version of T-Rex. We enhanced its genes and gave it steroids.
I thought
So
that's
it's even
what the,
angrier.
Indominus Rex was supposed to be. Like
Right.
the pieces of all the good dinosaurs, well, all the aggressive dinosaurs all put together. So Raptor,
Right.
T-Rex, whatever else, and they just made a cocktail out of it.
Well, I mean, it was a raptor and it was a T-Rex, but I think it was just really meant to be like a really smart version of a T-Rex. Like, this has the intelligence of a raptor, but the size of a T-Rex kind of thing.
All right, so either way, I still think that would be classified as bigger, better, badder T-Rex.
Yeah. And then they did a smaller but even smarter version in Fallen Kingdom.
Right.
And then this version, they're like, just bring in some dinosaur that never existed and is ridiculous with this fucking Lady Deathstrike claws. And then let's also bring in the Gigantosaurus and call it, like, it was an actual dinosaur. It actually existed. Let's put it in there. And it's like, God damn it. Can T-Rex just be the bad motherfucker for once? Can we just get that again? Like, please?
I was trying to pay attention. I don't know if anybody else did, but I'm almost positive the T-Rex in Jurassic World is meant to be the same T-Rex from Jurassic Park.
In the
Like, if
first
you-
Jurassic World or in this one?
Yes. No, the first Jurassic World.
I think so, because it has the scars, doesn't it?
Right.
From the raptor.
So I was trying to
battle.
pay attention in this one if you get a good shot of this T-Rex, if it's supposed to be the same T-Rex or not.
I was looking for the scars because that's like the telltale sign that that's like the OG T-Rex,
Yeah.
Right.
you know? But I don't recall seeing them.
Okay. I don't remember
I'll
either,
have
so I
to
don't know if
watch
I
it
missed
again
it
and look.
or yeah. So I guess for anybody that's gonna watch it, keep an eye out and see if we can tell if there's any signs that this is the OG T-Rex.
I thought they missed a couple of moments where they could have had some cool fan service, though. Like? When she's pulling away on the helicopter and she's like, everyone hold on to someone. I'm like, come on, everyone hold on to your butts.
Or have them tie the
the
seatbelt.
seatbelts. Yeah.
Yeah, do the
Yeah.
the Grant tie
Like
the
they-
seatbelt
I
and look
feel
over
like
and
they-
everything. Like,
They had some things that they could have done and didn't. And I was like, that was a missed opportunity.
I did think for sure when Ellie and was it Ellie and Bryce Dallas Howard go for the server room or something like that?
Yeah.
I thought for sure we were gonna get a call back to the first Jurassic Park of like someone
Oh,
being
yeah,
in there
like-
and like the arm coming out and stuff like that, like
Or,
that
like,
kind of
right
find a
after-
dead body thing.
like right after she presses all the buttons and the
Yeah.
raptor like pounces on the
Yes.
thing next
yeah.
to her,
Something like that. Yeah.
like the jump scare. Yeah, that would have been cool. They did a throwback to Lex, didn't they? With like the reflection thing and like the kitchen and all that. Like like they did a lot of it. I feel like the raptors tapping their claw
Oh, yeah.
that we didn't
Okay.
get in any of the other movies. Like we didn't get that like, oh, it's silent and the raptor's tapping its claw to try and get a reaction out of somebody.
Yeah.
But also, that was something with all the nostalgia throwbacks they were doing that I would have loved to have seen was Tim and Lex come back.
Yeah. Yeah.
That would have been cool just for the sake of seeing them come back. Just like, oh, hey, they actually bothered to ask these actors to come out and say, like, hey, come on back in for a quick scene.
Right.
It would have been nice.
What do you guys think of the cast, I guess? Like, how to me, I don't have, well, maybe not the cast, but the characters specifically, I think. Like, Owen and Bryce Dallas, I can't think of Bryce Dallas Howard's character's name.
Claire,
yeah. They have basically nothing to do, and I think are largely forgettable, especially in this movie. And I'd even say that Grant and Ellie didn't really have anything to do either. Like they
did enough.
They're there to push the story of the Locusts.
Yeah.
Like,
I'm not saying that I like the part of the Locust
that
story.
I think all the fans wanted. That was another fan service moment for me. It's like
I hated that fan service moment. I liked them as a platonic, professional people that like we dated before and it didn't work and we're cool with that. You know, like the
as soon as she said she was separated, you could be like, "Oh, yep, I see where this is going now."
Yeah, like immediately it was like great.
But yeah, that whole thing, it didn't do it for me. Jeff Goldblum is still a shining spot of this movie for me.
Yep.
But Ian Malcolm feels so shoehorned into this movie, it makes no fucking sense to me. There is no reason whatsoever, that he is employed at a facility that is doing the science he is opposed to. He is lecturing them against doing the science they are doing, and he's treated like a rock star.
And he would never put himself in a situation in that close proximity to dinosaurs again.
No, he seems like a jester that works at this fucking biosyn facility for the king.
And it worked in The Lost World, that second movie, because he went to save his daughter.
Right. He had a personal reason for being there.
Right. My daughter went and did something stupid. Or, no, it wasn't his daughter. It was, what's her name? Julianne Moore's character.
Yeah,
he went to save her, and then he
Yeah.
wound up sticking around because his daughter was doing something stupid.
Yes. Yeah.
But he goes to save a loved one.
Yeah.
After that, why the hell would he put himself in the way of dinosaurs again? It's the same thing like Grant that they pull in 3. He would never actually put himself in the way of that, but they were like, oh, we're just going to fly over at low altitude, and they tricked him, and he was like, okay, fine, yeah, I'll point at dinosaurs and be like, oh, Apatosaurus, you know, and do that for you. But he would never actually put himself in the way of that again.
Right.
So, yeah, Malcolm's position there made no sense to me either.
So I'm not the only one that was really confused by him being employed and being paid to contradict and tell them they're doing everything wrong and they shouldn't be playing with this, and yet everyone seems to be fine with that.
I mean, it's the perfect cover. You know, we're doing all this illegal shit, but
say
look,
why you're
this is like we're doing what he's saying. We're not paying no attention to this stuff over here. We're Ian Malcolm right here.
Well, it's not even like
the perfect smoke show.
He's employed. I don't know what he does as like a public, if he is a public figure for that company. But inside the company, all he's doing is lecturing them about what they're doing and why it's wrong.
And maybe that was the point of his employment there, was to provide, you know, a perspective on hubris. You know, like provide that perspective for the people there to keep them from doing the stupid shit the company was doing in the back channels anyways.
Which I guess I could buy if, like, when he's giving his lecture, you look at they're panning to the audience and you can see them, like, actually seriously considering what he's talking about. Instead, it looks like they're smiling at him like he's the joke. And yet he's trying to do this very seriously. I thought that there was a lot of, like, admiration there for, like, oh, it's that guy.
He's like
the same way that, like, Pittsburghers would look at Jeff Goldblum if he was giving a speech. We'd be like,
all right. Yeah, maybe I just interpreted it the wrong way or something then.
Like, this guy survived being at Jurassic Park twice, wrote a book about it. Like, he's a legit rock star.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, I get the celebrityism of it.
Well, that would be, to me, like, one thing that Fallen Kingdom did really well was his presence at the end of that movie, giving that speech in front of, like, Congress or whatever court he was in. That made fucking sense.
Yes.
is they would call him in as a consultant on this kind of stuff because he's a scientist who was present for all this shit. And it's like, let's talk to him about what is happening. And that made sense to put him in there.
Yeah.
Whereas this, it felt forced. They couldn't
Okay.
find another way to fit him into the story, so they just were like,
Yeah, that's
he's a lecturer on site.
That's what I mean. That was another one that just did not feel like a natural way to get that character in the story. So they just threw him in the mix just to get the OG cast there.
Right.
I feel like this movie suffered from too many characters. You know how some
Yes. Yeah.
team movies tend to have too much stuff going on, and the moment I realized that there was too much going on and too many characters that they were trying to string together was when they were trying to get on the helicopter and the two alpha carnivores were squaring off, and there were legitimately 12 people trying to dodge them at the same time. I'm like, holy fuck, when did our party get from 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. BD Wong all of a sudden is fucking with us. What is happening right now?
Yeah.
And I
Which
feel
he
like
was
when
another-
you have that many people that you're trying to dangle,
Yeah.
you don't get good meaty stuff from any single one.
Because there's a lot of subplots and beeline stories that are going on, and it just you lose track of what is happening, why, and what everyone is doing.
Right.
It would have been different if the crew stayed together and they did this collectively as a group together. The whole movie. That's one storyline you can follow. But
there was the Mazzy storyline, and then there was the Locust storyline, and then eventually they sort of interwove.
neither one had to do with
still-
dinosaurs.
still
About a
separate,
dinosaur movie.
But they were still separate. It was weird. It looked like a double
Yeah.
helix, actually. Whoa.
Oh, DNA. You could start giving us lectures like Mr. DNA. It's a dinosaur. BD Wong's character, Henry Wu, I thought was another one that I felt like did a complete 180 from everything we've seen of that character.
Oh
in the
yes,
movies.
100%. He was the villain in both Jurassic World movies.
Yeah.
And this is something where I felt like his presence could have completely eliminated Dodgson, and it could have just been Wu
Yes.
running this whole damn facility, and we don't need Dodgson at all. They set Wu up to be that character, and then they took it away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what they were thinking in that.
At the end of
characters and actor stuff. Anything else you guys want to get into while we're sort of in this?
Kayla
area?
was really cool. Was you say that was her name, right?
I actually really enjoyed her character. And I was kind of hoping that she was Jeff Goldblum's daughter from Lost World.
That would have been amazing.
cooler.
Right? I was like, oh, missed opportunity.
I didn't even consider that until you just said it.
Yeah.
Like,
or even Samuel L. Jackson's daughter from the original one, just
Yeah.
or maybe both.
Andy's mind is just blown. He has no words.
But she was really cool. She was
Yeah.
the actress did a really good job. I don't know why she was a World War II bomber, but it was still really cool.
Yeah.
I dug it nonetheless.
Felt like she was the only one having fun in this movie.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah.
she was enjoying herself. She did some cool shit, and
She was my favorite character, I think.
I'll give you that.
and the interaction that they have presents my favorite dinosaur they put in this movie was that Archaeopteryx / raptor thing that they encounter on the ice.
Oh, that swims underneath
Oh,
them
yeah,
and
that
stuff.
Yeah,
was
that
pretty
thing was
cool,
fucking
yeah.
cool.
Yeah.
It makes no sense. It makes no sense whatsoever, but it was fucking cool.
Any other highlights or lowlights for the cast and characters for you guys?
I think I said enough about Dodgson. I didn't really care for him. I thought the oh god, what was his name? It wasn't Achilles. Shit, the second in command underneath Dodgson that eventually gets him out of there. I thought he did a pretty decent job.
Oh, yeah. I can't think of his name, but yes, I know.
Yeah,
who
I
you're
can't think
talking
of the character's name, but I agree. I think, for me personally, Bryce Dallas Howard did not do a good job in this movie, and maybe it's because of the way the writing was or directing or something, but it just wasn't there. And I think the way that Owen was wrote throughout the 3 movies, not even just this one, but through all 3, without Chris Pratt being Chris Pratt, nobody gives a shit about that character.
Yeah, I agree.
Like, Chris Pratt is just fucking awesome. He's one of the most likable people in movies right now. And he is actually really good at expressing, and he is so much better than what that character was wrote for. And even he could not save it and make me give a shit.
I think his character took a hit in this movie
Yep.
because he went from being very charismatic in Jurassic World and Fallen Kingdom. Fallen Kingdom, he's still cracking jokes and like making some laughs and like having some good line delivery and dialogue to use. This one, nothing.
Yeah.
All he does is stop dinosaurs. Doesn't matter what dinosaur it is with his hand.
Yeah.
That's his only skill throughout this whole fucking movie.
Yep.
It just I feel like Owen's character arc, like you said, it just took a halt.
Yep.
Yeah.
Where there should have been more of an arc here, as opposed to I'm a stern dad to Maisie and I can put my hand out and that's my arc in this movie. Because
Well, like you said, I think they could have done something
much
interesting with
stuff
that, but
in
they
there.
just didn't.
Yeah, they could have had fun with it, but underutilized. Like, they turned him into this Ethan Hunt. You know,
Yeah,
the whole
exactly.
like
He was more an action star than he was like someone that was like a likable dinosaur tamer.
Yeah.
right, and that's not Chris Pratt's strong point. Like, he can work as an action star, but he is charismatic. Let him be charismatic. Let
Right.
him do his thing
They don't
because that's what sells.
they handcuffed him.
Yeah.
It's like, do you ever watch Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson in a drama? No, because he would fucking suck in a drama. Don't give him that role. So it's the same thing for Chris Pratt. Don't let him be him. That's all you have to do, and it works. The guy is just likable, and they didn't do that here. So that was a little bit. I feel like Ellie and Grant were as expected. You know what I mean? They were right in line, I think, with their previous characters. I didn't find anything too outlandish with either of them.
I didn't terribly care for Laura Dern's performance in this, honestly. I think I've seen better from her. I thought Grant
for sure.
was fine, but I don't know.
I feel like out of the two of them, like, I think Ellie was, like, acting wise, I think they were fine. I think Ellie had more of a character thing to do. Alan just felt like he was strung along for the ride and had nothing to do.
Yep.
Yeah, in terms of writing, that was
He was coattailing,
Weak.
yeah.
Yeah.
But you mentioned, or can we get off of characters a little bit?
Yeah.
Yeah. Mike mentioned the Ethan Hawke thing. And
Ethan Hunt.
Ethan Hunt thing. And it just, like, I hated how the first half of the movie was Mission Impossible dinosaurs. And then the second half of the movie was an actual Jurassic World, like a Jurassic Park movie. I didn't like that disconnect at all. Like watching the first half of the movie, I'm like, these chase scenes are fine and everything. They just don't belong to me in a Jurassic Park movie. And the whole scene where they had this like underground dinosaur trading
The black market.
labyrinth black market thing. Yeah, I was like, this is just.
Yeah, in a matter of a couple of years, the black market has learned all this shit about these dinosaurs.
And how do they not have any fail safes? They just just throw a chain on them. Be all right. Yeah.
And they've bred through generations and generations of these dinosaurs that are now mostly adults that are ready to be full go. And it's like, where the fuck did they get them?
Yeah,
This is not how this works. This is like,
just that whole. I feel like the movie really started to be better when they actually like got to Biosyn, crashed the plane and everything.
I honestly felt like the movie, like, at that point, I'm like, wow, this movie's going to be over in the next 10, 15 minutes. An hour and change later, you're like, wow, no, it wasn't.
Yeah, because it was almost like it was supposed to be a 2-part movie. Like, this is the first part A and part B,
Yeah.
Yeah, the first part felt like an extended part of Fallen Kingdom.
Yeah.
Like, it felt just like an extended version of that, and then this is the results of it at the very end of this for the last hour, and I don't know. Was
anyone else surprised? Like, the first half of the movie, I think, is more in line with what I would have expected for what this movie set up. Even, like, action sequences included in all of that. Like just dinosaurs running amok in the world is kind of what I expected.
Right.
And I totally lost my train of thought and where the fuck I was going
but
with that question.
We go out. We go to like we're in the world, right? And they're actually like interacting with dinosaurs everywhere. But they go back to seclusion.
Right.
It's almost like they go back to the island. So like there's.
Yep.
Well, more so that like in my mind, I'm thinking like Mike was saying in the promotional stuff leading up to this, like some of the stuff you see is like that little short film of like the dinosaurs attacking a trailer park.
Yeah.
Like I thought we'd get more of that in this movie. Instead, the movie opens where it seems like dinosaurs and humans are coexisting completely fine.
Yeah.
They
like
seem
more
like they're living in
zombie
the wild unopposed and fine. Like everything is adapted already. I don't know how many years it's been, but I don't feel like it should. I guess I didn't expect that to be that comfortable that quickly. I thought the movie was going to be leading up to that moment. Instead, it starts there.
Right, and I feel like I would have preferred more zombie apocalypse with dinosaurs.
Yes.
Where they're searching for something to release into the air that will just target the lysine something, because it's all the lysine contingency you could come back to with the dinosaurs and target something along that where they need lysine and something to deny them that again or something, and it kills all the dinosaurs but not the humans. Hooray!
I can see that
lines.
being the plot, and then you still have like Owen and Claire still wanting to save the dinosaurs, so they're fighting that battle while still trying to get the dinosaurs somewhere safe. Like that's what I thought the movie would be, I guess.
Right, but the dinosaurs are just animals. They're not inherently evil and want to conquer the world. They're just trying to, just like be, man.
Right, but I'm not saying like the dinosaurs would be like pounding by the thousands at the doors of the towers that people are holed up in. But that, if you fast forward far enough into the future, the dinosaurs would be the new dominant predators in the world. Like instead of lions and tigers and bears and all that, oh my, whatever, it would be dinosaurs. And, the opening scene, is it the very first scene where you see the mosasaur just taking out the crab boat?
Yeah.
And, you introduce predators of that size into the world again all of a sudden, which we don't have any of right now. And it's going to change the ecosystem drastically.
Yes.
And seeing the results of that and how to solve that problem. When I say zombie apocalypse, I'm not literally saying like raptors just chasing everybody into holes and they're just everywhere. I mean, like, human life is going to seriously suffer or cease to exist because of the proliferation of dinosaurs. And how are we going to solve that? As opposed to men got greedy and released locusts to make themselves richer, and that's how the problem occurs. And it's like, God damn it, that's not what I wanted.
I
wanted dinosaurs
to
to do this themselves.
Like some of the characters that we got in some of the other Jurassic movies, like the hunters, the poachers, like the guys that want to hunt dinosaurs for sport.
Oh yeah, they'd be rampant.
Yeah. Like, I really thought they would be somehow contending with our characters, trying to kill the dinosaurs while our characters are trying to protect them, like that whole thing.
That guy from The Lost World, the bald guy that wants to hunt the T-Rex.
Yeah.
Guys like that would just be having, like, hunter-gasms all over the damn place and posing with all these different dead dinosaurs, and that would be a huge part of what would be going on. Absolutely. They would be out there doing it.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, maybe it would have slowed down the movie. I was expecting, I think, maybe more like, almost like the scene in like the end of Fallen Kingdom with Ian talking to like Congress or whoever he's talking, like just more worldly discussions about what to do now that dinosaurs are loose.
Yeah,
like Mike was saying, like how it affects the ecosystem, how governments and nations adapt to that and try to solve that problem. That's the interesting part to me. I don't know how you make that interesting for a movie other than like, discussions and dialogue, but that was sort of what I wanted, I guess.
I guess Ian and I have talked about it several times, and I don't know, I know Brian, you probably haven't because you've never engaged, but Andy, you might have seen Shin Godzilla. Have you seen Shin Godzilla?
Oh, I want to. I really badly want to, but I have yet to see it.
So basically what you're talking about then is the difference between, say, the Godzilla we got from, what is their name? I know it's Warner Brothers, but it's the Legendary. So you get the Legendary Godzilla, and at the same time, roughly, you get a Japanese Godzilla called Shin Godzilla, where instead of focusing on like cool battles and CGI and all that shit, they focus on what's going to happen politically with the ecosystem, with the world when something like Godzilla shows up. And it focuses a lot more on the real questions that would be asked, and it creates a much more thought-provoking movie as opposed to just this, oh, look at the big thing going boom, kind of thing. And that's why it's revered as such a damn good movie by comparison, is because it asks big questions about that kind of thing and how people would actually react in the government sphere. And not just the government sphere, but also, like just the general sphere of humans. And I feel like it applies here because the same kind of thing would happen with dinosaurs.
Yeah.
Where what's going to happen to the world if we actually unleash them? And it's not a question I feel like got asked here. Like, yeah, we got yes, corporate greed. We get it. Yes, corporate greed's going to affect fucking everything that happens on Earth, but that's not the only effects. There's going to be other shit that happens because of these things. There's going to be things like again, I go to the mosasaur that they just cannot really control. Can you imagine trying to recapture a mosasaur? Like, breeding it from captivity in the start is one thing, where it nenever knows the whole ocean. But trying to actually capture it and move it, good fucking luck.
I keep thinking about the Rise of Skywalker comparison. It was like the second movie of this trilogy tried to do something different, and the third movie just snapped back to where they went before and didn't expand upon those ideas. Because, like you said, I really didn't want another evil corporation. I thought this would be the world banding together to try to save or hurt or get rid of dinosaurs.
I guess for me, the difference with Star Wars is I really didn't want them to continue the Fallen Kingdom storyline as much as I wanted Last Jedi to continue.
Oh, for sure, yeah. But I think both of those movies, I think, tried to do something different, and then whether it's
it got reverted and dodged away from.
No one could stick to their guns, and then they just really snapped it back to where it came from. But
yeah.
I only have a couple more questions left, so I don't know if you guys have anything else pressing you want to get to before we sort of tie it up.
No, go for it.
We know that this movie is making money right now. It could be possibly, I think, maybe on pace to hit over $1 billion. If this is the third movie in a row in the Jurassic franchise to hit over $1 billion, hell, even if it doesn't, if it caps out at $800 million, do you think this is the end of the franchise, or are we going to get another movie?
They're making bank, man.
Yeah, anything that makes money, they're going to do, and I'll tell you where they're going to make a ton of money and maybe kill the franchise at the same time. Reboot.
That was going to be my next question. If we get another movie, is it going to be a reboot, or are we going to get some sort of spin-off or sequel or something?
I hope it's a sequel. I don't want them to... The first movie's so damn good, they do not need to touch it. But at the same time, I'd love to see what they could do with the second and third movies again. It's one of those things they really haven't improved that much on what the CGI was in the first movie.
Nope.
Yeah.
Because it didn't need to be improved on. It was so good that long ago. And the movie itself just holds up in every fucking way.
And dare I say, some of the dinosaurs look worse in this movie than they did in 1993.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're absolutely right. So I don't need a reboot. It reminds me a long time ago they were talking about a reboot of Jaws, where it's I get why you're not going to get the performances out of, you're not getting Robert Shaw again to do what he did, but the shark looked like shit. So I could see them wanting to get a more realistic shark version of Jaws, but the performances are just not there, so they scrapped it because it was a dumb idea. So I hope if they have that thought in their heads that they kill it quickly for this, and they just go to maybe not a reboot, but a reimagining in some way, a different take on it. I don't know.
I mean, the similarities are there between the themes of the movie and how it compares to just movie studios, right? The greedy corporation that always keeps coming back to make more dinosaurs and make another park. That's the movie studio.
They're going to the future. JP3000, JP3K.
To be fair, I would really love to see a more book accurate take on the Lost World. So
That's
like
true,
the
yeah.
first movie is really good at, being fairly accurate to, the first book. It's not 100%, but it's pretty close.
Yeah.
But the Lost World book and the Lost World movie are nothing alike.
I didn't read the first Jurassic Park. I own it. I never actually went back and read it. I bought it after the fact. I did, after finally seeing Jurassic Park, read The Lost World prior to the movie. And Mike is correct. That book is drastically different than what that movie ends up being.
It's way better.
It is way better.
Way better. And it's one of those things, like, if you have not read The Lost World, it's better than the first book. It is, just go read it. Just please read it. Do yourself a favor. And I would love to see that.
Yeah.
But
Andy,
how
what do you
they
think?
get there
Reboot,
without a
sequel,
reboot?
spin-off, anything you think they'll continue to be done?
There's going to be something, whether it's going to be like an additional link in the chain, or if they reboot, reimagine. Like I said, I think they're going to the future. JP3K.
It's a good tagline. Like I could buy that. I'm really, I want this to be done. I kind of just want it to be done. I don't think you can, as of right now, maybe it's just coming off of this soured movie experience for this movie that I just kind of want to, at least, if at the very least, take like a 10-year break. If you're going to do another movie, do not do it any earlier than 10 years away. I need some distance from this. And I'd love to see this, if they reboot it or spin off or something. I want a storyline that doesn't have to do with the greedy corporation making dinosaurs again. Like, I feel like there's some interesting stories to be had with just dinosaurs in the world, and I don't think we've got a good movie like that yet.
Well, in the other really interesting aspect from the books that they only kind of touched on ever in any of these, and when I say kind of touched on, it's, they sprinkle it in, but they never really get into it. And a lot of it is the unethical genetic tampering that happens, and all the science and mystery behind what these people were actually doing when they brought dinosaurs back, and why these aren't actually what dinosaurs would have been. Like a lot of that occurs in the books that they talk about, like how they got to this point and why.
All right, so here's the idea that your explanation just planted the seed for me. What if we get a prequel? What if we get young John Hammond cracking the code to genetics and making dinosaurs?
Hammond and Lockwood, basically.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, Hammond.
What if
Lockwood
we get that
was
story?
never in the books, which is interesting too. That would be cool to tell his story. Get the two of them, and Wu, of course, being the primary, geneticist that they work with.
I would see that movie.
I would actually
That
see
sounds
that. Yeah,
interesting
that
to me.
Sound bad, yeah.
Don't release this podcast, dude. They're going to steal your idea. Somebody's going to hear it. They're going to take it.
Well, that just means if it happens, we called it how many years before the movie actually came out.
I'd rather sell the idea to them than just have been
fair.
like, oh, we called it.
All right, last question before we get to our ratings. Where would you rank this movie in your Jurassic franchise list?
Oof.
Out of all 6 movies, where's Dominion fall? And I know where it is for me, and I've sort of
Same.
buried the lead early on. It's bottom of the list for me.
Wow.
Like
The
Below
other
Fallen
5.
Kingdom.
Yes.
Wow.
I
For
think
me,
what's weird is I have to go back and watch Fallen Kingdom, but from my memory, this movie is so bad it makes Fallen Kingdom better for me.
okay. For me, this goes, again, Jurassic Park is far and away the best.
Yes.
And then you go down a few rungs, you got Jurassic World. You go down another couple of rungs, you got Lost World. You go down another big chunk of rungs, and I think this movie would go in front of 3 for me.
Okay.
I think it would
So
be
middle of the pack-ish for you.
middle of the pack for these, but there is such a huge difference between those top 3
Yeah.
and the bottom 3. Like Fallen
Okay.
Kingdom 3 and Dominion are way below
Yeah.
the other 3 movies.
actually,
Andy, where does this?
I was actually going to completely agree with Mike. I feel like Dominion, Fallen Kingdom, and Jurassic Park 3 can all be like interchangeable.
Okay.
Like 4 through 6. Really?
I'd agree
with
And
that.
then,
So you're still going Jurassic Park,
Jurassic World,
World.
Lost World.
Okay.
I would actually
Alright.
say that 2 and 3 are almost interchangeable as well. but just between the two.
Like
of them.
Lost World and Jurassic Park 3, you mean?
Like depending
Okay.
on what mood I'm in, and then
Yeah.
like the other three are all like down the block a little bit.
I mean, I'll put the asterisk next to my list because, like, sort of like Andy said, based on the given day or mood you're in, some of these can filter around. I've only seen Fallen Kingdom once. I've only seen Dominion once. If I watch them after a second viewing, maybe a little bit time has passed after I've seen Dominion, and I watch it again, maybe I'll forgive it a little bit more now that I know what to expect going into it for a second viewing.
Right. Because that happened to me with 3. Actually, caught it on TV, like unedited, like on HBO or something. Like years after I had seen it in the theater, and I'm like, why did I really hated this movie, but like it's not that bad. Like William H. Macy's actually pretty good in this, and Dr. Grant's pretty decent in it, you know.
Yes.
Like what's her name, Téa Leon is kind of annoying, but you know, like I mean,
as soon as she starts yelling Eric again, I start hating the movie again.
Like it doesn't like bug me though, you know. So I'm like, it's not that bad. It's just not my it's just not my favorite, you know.
It's a fun movie. It's just not a good movie.
Yeah.
Like I feel like it's still fun to watch.
But I think coming out of Dominion, to me, Dominion is one that's just making me angry thinking about it, and that's not a great.
I feel like that's a fairly knee-jerk initial reaction, though, and over the time it may grow.
That's what I mean. So it may bump up above Fallen Kingdom once I rewatch the both of them, but. For right now, it's like this is by far and away my least favorite.
Sometimes
I think it's
watching a trilogy like immediately through, like just don't.
It can help.
It can also like sort of change your perceptions of things and like seeing the interconnectivity and stuff.
Except, sort of, I feel like I've hit in this review is that there isn't any. Like everything they set up falls flat by this movie. So I think that would make that kind of stuff even more glaringly obvious when you watch them all back to back.
Fair. But I think there's one thing that we have all made very clear. The original Jurassic Park movie is an absolute gem. Is so far and beyond any of the other work they have done. It's not even close.
Yes.
And that is something that makes me happy for that movie, but also disappointed that they haven't been able to capture that again. They've just been able to be like, this is a dinosaur movie, watch it, after that first movie. So,
not only is
again,
that movie
I agree
itself,
with you, Brian. 10 out of 10. The original Jurassic Park movie, fucking 10 out of 10. It's one of the absolute most memorable movies for me ever.
Not only is the movie itself like pitch perfect, but just like learning what they did to that movie to get the special effects where they were between stop motion and CG, and just like the behind the scenes stories of like making that movie, it's just fun to learn about that stuff too. So if you have any of the DVDs or Blu-rays or anything, and you haven't watched some of the behind the scenes stuff, definitely take some time to check that stuff out. It's really cool. All right, we'll finish with ratings. So out of 10, Mike, where would you rate this one?
You know, I still enjoyed this movie. You know, as much as I want to say, like, yes, thematically, there's a lot of problems, but it's still a dinosaur movie, and it still had some fun dinosaur stuff in it. So, 5.
Okay, Andy, out of 10, what do you give Jurassic World Dominion?
I'm trying to think what I would rate the other movies, and I can't seem to recall what I had rated the other Jurassic World movies.
I don't know if we ever reviewed.
I think we
those.
Did Fallen Kingdom.
I thought we did.
Did we? Okay.
We did,
I feel like I gave Fallen Kingdom a 3.5.
Ooh,
I feel like that's
shit. I don't remember reviewing Fallen Kingdom, and I probably didn't rate it very well. So if I rate this one higher than what I rated Fallen Kingdom after just saying it was higher on my list, I'm going to be really kicking myself.
Where's our record keeper? God damn it, Ian.
We never kept any records of what we rated. We probably should.
I'm going to give this one a 6.
Okay.
It definitely is not my favorite, and it was an enjoyable movie, and I feel like it's sort of like was an okay ending if we don't get any more Jurassic Parks. So I'm okay with it.
Yeah. Okay. I if it's anything is apparent from my review, I didn't care for this one very much.
You don't say.
There's some things that we're fine with it. Like it's like Mike said, it's still a dinosaur Jurassic Park movie, so there's still some redeeming factors there. just seeing everybody back is fun, even though I thought like this movie doesn't do any of these characters any service. Like I think most of them are wasted, and they're just in there just to be in there. I can't tell if what I'm going to rate it is like higher than what everyone's expecting or right on par, but I'm going to give it a 2 out of 10 for me.
That's low.
Wow, that's very.
I feel
That's very
yeah,
low.
that thinking what did you rate Red Sonja?
I had to have been less than that. I'm not the scorekeeper for that one. I think Ian has all the
Wow, you
wide
hated
meter
Red
scores.
Sonja. Really? I loved that movie when I was younger.
I was not crazy about. Yeah, you weren't there for that
No.
one when we recorded, but I was not crazy about that one.
I would just wonder how it would line up versus some of the other things you've rated for our rewind
Yeah.
theater. I'm thinking like a 2. You don't usually go that low. Like
No, I'm
you're-
usually pretty generous. So yeah, that's even like I said, like I think Mike said, this could just be the knee jerk reaction coming out of the movie. Only seeing it once, I haven't even trying to like read reviews or kind of come back to this movie and look stuff up after seeing it. Nothing has helped me find a lot of redeeming factors in the movie. I'm still kind of just like on par with it. So I don't know. That's where I'm at. Again, I reserve the right to change my rating somewhere down the line, but for right now, that's it.
It's your show. You can do whatever the hell you want. You can edit this later and just be like, I give it a 9, and just put that in there at some point.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna give it a 9.
Yeah.
Just very blatantly recorded at another time and just stitched together. Yeah, that'll be great.
Just use Ian's voice instead of your own rated Watchmen or something. Don't even use your own voice.
Pre-record myself just going 1, 2, 3, and whenever I want to change a rating, I just sub it in there.
Yeah.
Point 2, 5.
Sound like the most terrible like Siri voice ever. All right, so that is it for Jurassic World Dominion. This episode will release over the weekend of 4th of July, so if anyone out there celebrating 4th of July, happy 4th of July. And again, if you're looking for a movie to see over the holiday weekend, Maverick, go see Top Gun Maverick. Just avoid this movie and go see Maverick. It probably fits the holiday a
It's
little
not
bit more.
that bad, guys. Come on.
Also, watch Spiderhead if you have time. I will put that out there. If you're looking
I
for a
heard about
movie
that
at
one.
home,
Yeah.
watch Spiderhead. Movie at home.
Yeah, it's in Netflix, right? Hemsworth and okay.
Hemsworth and same guy from Top Gun, Miles Teller.
Same director as Top Gun too. I think Kaczynski directed that one also.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So there's a bunch of good shit. Yeah. Stranger Things this weekend too. All kinds of shit to watch.
And new episode of The Boys tomorrow.
Oh yeah.
The penultimate episode of this season.
I haven't started
Next
this
to
season.
last.
I still have to start this season.
We
Start
actually
watching.
started rewatching, so we
Okay.
are about halfway through season 2, and we've kept up with the season, but we're about halfway back through season 2 because it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah. Yeah, well, we got a lot of stuff on the docket to try to cover. Like we know, like Obi-Wan just finished. We haven't talked about Obi-Wan yet.
Gotta do that.
If goes to plan, hopefully we can do that one next. Thor comes out the following weekend, like next weekend. So hopefully after Obi-Wan we can get to Thor. Sometime this month, I think I teased it in one of the episodes. Maybe I think we did with Ian, or maybe it's just me and Ian. It might have been the Top Gun episode that we reviewed. We teased that there's a series that Ian has not seen that we're going to try to do for Never Seen That. I'm hoping to get the first one recorded for that sometime this month. At the rate we're going, it might be middle to end of July when that finally comes out, so we'll see
What is that?
where that falls. What series?
Yeah. Or is this a secret? Or am I?
Yeah, we haven't. I hinted at it. We never actually officially revealed
Okay,
what
tell
it
me
was.
after
So I don't
we
know if
stop.
I'll. Yeah, I don't know
tell
if
me
I'll.
after the
I'll-
recording.
I mean, you know what it is. I think we had.
We talked
traded
about it,
messages
yes,
about
but
it.
I forget.
Okay.
And I
yeah,
feel
we'll
like I
talk
wanted
after.
to be on it,
I'll
and
tell
I
you
just
after.
forget what it was, and I'm like, damn it.
Yeah, so at some point I'll announce that. I think when we get closer to it, when I know for sure it's happening, I'll talk a little bit more about that.
Okay.
Because yeah, there's between that and we haven't talked about Stranger Things, so we got to get to Stranger Things at some point. We'll probably wait till after this season wraps up before we
Which
dive
is
into
tomorrow,
that. Yeah, so
because they all release on one day. So
right. So again, that review will probably come out later than anyone wants because it wraps up this coming weekend. Tomorrow after
if
we
you
record
power
this.
watch it, if you
Yeah.
power watch it, it wraps up tomorrow. But that's 8 hours of viewing, presumably. I assume there's 8 episodes coming tomorrow, like there was.
No,
with
there was
the-
2 episodes, but they total about 3 hours.
Oh, is that it?
Volume 2 is only 2 episodes, 8 and 9.
Ah, okay.
But they are extended, very long episodes.
I was not aware that it was only a couple episodes. Okay, well, that's a lot to watch.
Yeah. I mean, you can still do it in a weekend, but
Yeah.
so yeah, it's at some point it's on the list of shit to cover. So the list is ever growing. We're trying to get to them one at a time as we can. So we'll try to keep up with it as best. Probably late. Like again, we're never on time for a lot of this stuff. We're always after the fact, but we will get to it eventually.
We got to start getting a deal with Netflix where we get to watch this stuff early and put out reviews ahead of time. So people
Oh
are
yeah,
like,
then we could time it when they release that weekend and get the
Yeah.
screeners and stuff like that. That would be cool.
yeah, Netflix, contact us.
All right, so that's it for us. If you've enjoyed the show, please support us, leave a 5-star rating and review. Be sure to give us a share on social media. You can follow or subscribe to us on Spotify, iTunes, Anchor, Google, Stitcher, Amazon. Hopefully anywhere you're finding a podcast, you can find us. You can check us out on social media. Find us on Facebook. Search Bry Guy and Super Friends or go to facebook.com/Bry Guy Super Friends. You can send us questions, comments, topic suggestions, any of that stuff there. Try to send me an email, bryguysuperfriends@gmail.com. It's a working email address, but I will not check it, so it'll just sit there forever and ever and ever. Hit us up on Twitter @BGSuperFriends. That I will see, that I will respond to. You can follow me on Twitch. I am at Jedi Bry Guy. That's Jedi with an I, Bry with a Y. If ever we decide to do another live show, which we were sort of in talks about, we might actually try to do something come the end of the month. We'll see if schedules align and we can figure that out. So follow, keep an eye out for that. I'll promote when we get a little bit closer and it's definite. In the meantime, if you want to see me randomly stream games every now and again, that's where I do it. And that's it. On behalf of Andy, Mike, and myself, thank you for listening, and we will talk to you next time.
You didn't say the magic word.